Alright, and hello everyone, my name is JungleBook1, pro player for Luminosity Gaming and 2 times world champion, and today I wanted to do a quick video on how you can use these two websites, UniteDB.com and UniteAPI.dev, to increase your win rate in Pokemon Unite. So first, I'd recommend you start with UniteDB.com. Again, I'll put both these links in the description for easy access, and I would definitely recommend checking them out. They have tons of cool resources such as the stats on each mon, like their HP attack stats at different levels. They have tier lists of recommendations in the 5v5 competitive meta, which are also closely aligned with solo queue, I'd say. They have some builds, like if you can put in Feint Slash and then a level 5, Night Slash Pursuit, and then some held items, whatever, just for you to lay things out. They have all the items, descriptions, emblems, you name it. But what I want to highlight today is really, this is kind of geared towards more beginners or just people who are maybe trying to pick up new mons and are not sure what the most optimal builds are. So really you can click on any Pokemon. So let's just go to like Blastoise right now, which is pretty potent in the meta right now. And you can see that if you just click on the builds up here, it'll give you a very solid recommendation of items as well as an alternative slot for what you should be running with different movesets as well. So that's an important thing to note, as you'll see. For example, the build for Spout Spin is very different from Surf Pump. One is very more carry oriented, whereas one is very more supportive and kind of more of a traditional defender role. So using these builds, I've clicked through most Pokemon, and really all of them are extremely sound, and you cannot definitely not go wrong in pretty much using the exact builds that they offer you on this website. These builds are mathematically calculated by people from MathCord and just the people that run Unite DB as well. So you can be rest assured that they are quite optimal. Now, that being said, there is still some room for variation in the builds. For example, I just clicked on Lucario completely randomly, but for example, you might see some pro players running, it recommends attack weight weakness muscle band. You might see some pro players running Razor Claw over muscle band instead. And there's always going to be room for variation in this game, in a MOBA in general. There's tons of options now, tons of great items. So that's completely fine. So, if you want to switch out, a couple of the items based on preference, I think that's completely fine. You can also go to, pro streamers, pro YouTubes, and see what they're building. And you can kind of see that, for the most part, one or two of the items are super core on most mons that you'll see pretty much every good player run. But then there's always room for that little bit of variation. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Don't be afraid to try new things. But these builds on this website will be, mathematically very optimal. That being said, so now we're gonna talk about Unite API and how you can use this to really, increase your chances of winning on the ladder. So from here, you're gonna go to Meta, and if you scroll down, you can actually already see the win rates of every Pokemon in the previous week. So obviously, I'm releasing this video when the first patch of no Xmons in ranked, the Xmons being the 2 Mewtwo's and the Zacian, they're not allowed in ranked for this season. So obviously it hasn't updated yet, but once this gets updated, this is for last patch, but you can very clearly see, what Pokemon, if you're playing to win and climb in solo queue, which, I'm sure many of you are, these are the best Pokemon to do so, So, I'd honestly say, anything around, probably 49% to 50% is quite balanced, and you can make it work, whenever you want. And then everything, 51 plus is going to be when you're starting to get to very strong, just statistically, just by statistics, Pokemon. So you can go even more in depth into these stats as well. So for example, if we click on Mewtwo who had the highest win rate in the game, surprise, surprise, you can actually see the breakdown of the items. So you can see that there's an overwhelming trend here. A 10% pick rate and an 8% pick rate, and you have to keep in mind that this is over probably thousands and thousands of games, is actually a significant amount of data. And you can clearly see that, Recover is a much worse move just in general than Teleport on Mewtwo. So these stats are super telling, and, if you're trying to win, you should be, you should try to use these as a resource is what I'm trying to say. And you should be able to conclude that teleport will be better, you know, at least 9 times out of 10. Same thing, it gives you a battle item breakdown, so like it's kind of overwhelming with this insane pick rate and win rate. You can kind of see that X attack really brings out the best of this Pokemon. And I'll just do like one more example, so just to kind of, you know, I think honestly, what's a mon that hasn't been kind of touched? I guess Buzzwole is another good example. It didn't really get nerfed or anything. And here you can see that, you know, in solo queue, Lunge superpower has the highest win rate, but it's only a 5% pick rate, you know, which you have to keep in mind. So really, I think like SmackDown superpower is probably going to be your most consistent with the high pick rate, as well as, you know, like I said, anything from 49 to 50% is definitely solid and good enough. And you also have to keep in mind that the win rate is being brought down by a lot of players who aren't using the moveset super optimally, and aren't using it to its full potential. So I definitely think like for this type of example, you know, this pick rate and this win rate should be telling of what moveset you're going to be wanting to try. And clearly, you know, eject is very consistent at a 50, you know, above 50% win rate, as well as the highest pick rate battle item on Buzzwole according to the data. So yeah, I hope that this breakdown kind of helps you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, because, you know, as I went into in this video, there is some nuance to each Pokemon in terms of both the builds as well as the stats and how you can use them to win. But yeah, that being said, I hope that this helps you out, and good luck with the new season. Thank you guys so much.